My childhood fear of midnight on New Year's Eve wasn't about monsters under the bed. It was about the man at my window who found me during a Christmas celebration. When I was 6 years old, the world felt like one big, glittering adventure. My birthday had just passed in November, so I was riding that high straight into the most magical time of the year. And the most memorable gift I received that Christmas would pull me straight into a nightmare. I grew up in the Dallas area, surrounded by sports fans. That year, my interests were just starting to ignite. For my birthday, I was given tickets to see a professional basketball game at the end of December. I was ecstatic. But Christmas morning brought an even bigger surprise. Among the wrapped boxes, I found a brand new jersey for my favorite football player. Alongside it was a sweatshirt and t-shirt for the local NBA team. My parents smiled, telling me these were just the warm-up. Their real present to me was another set of tickets, this time for a game just 2 days after Christmas. The night of that first game was everything I dreamed. The arena was a cathedral of noise and light. Our seats felt impossibly close to the action, just a handful of rows from the gleaming court. I remember the dizzying height of the players, the squeak of their shoes, the thunderous slam of the ball. My team won in a close, exciting finish. Driving home, my face was practically glued to the window, replaying every moment. I couldn't wait to go back. I had no idea that the next visit would change everything. A few days later, we returned for the second game. The energy was different from the start. We sat much higher up this time, tucked into a corner section. The view was still incredible, but it felt more detached, more anonymous. By halftime, the home team was dominating, leading by a huge margin. The predictable victory loosened the crowd. My parents decided it was a good time to beat the lines and get some snacks. We navigated the buzzing concourse, a river of people in team colors. I was holding a half-eaten bag of candy from earlier. Seeing a trash can about 30 feet away, I tugged on my mom's sleeve and said I'd be right back. She nodded, her eyes on the concession stand menu. I weaved through a few groups of legs and tossed my trash. As I turned, a shadow fell over me. A tall man was standing there. He wasn't smiling, but his voice was calm. "Hey there, partner. You look a little turned around." I shook my head, suddenly shy. He glanced around. "I don't see your folks. Come on, let's go find them." Before I could process it, his hand closed around mine. His grip wasn't tight, but it was firm. My 6-year-old brain, trained to listen to adults, simply followed. He didn't lead me toward the bustling food court. Instead, he started walking purposefully toward the stadium's upper levels. The higher we climbed, the quieter it became. The roar of the crowd softened to a distant rumble. The carpeted hallways gave way to colder concrete passages. He mentioned something about using the arena's speaker system to page my parents. I just nodded, my shoes scuffing against the floor. We reached a deserted landing near some service elevators. He paused, looking around. For the first time, a cold trickle of fear dripped down my spine. This wasn't right. The lessons from school, stranger danger, flooded into my head. This man had no badge, no walkie-talkie. He was just a man in the quiet part of the building, holding my hand. He let go of my hand for a second to check his phone. It was the only opening I'd get. I didn't think, I just ran. I sprinted back the way we came, my heart hammering against my ribs. I dared one glance back. He was just standing there, watching me flee, and on his face was the faintest, most chilling hint of a smile. I burst back into the bright concourse, gasping. I found my brother still in line. He looked annoyed. "Where'd you go?" he asked. The words clogged in my throat. I just shook my head, terrified of getting him or myself in trouble. I stayed glued to his side for the rest of the game, which I don't remember at all. The car ride home was silent. I claimed I was exhausted, and my parents bought it. But as our car merged onto the dark highway, a deafening, prolonged honk shattered the quiet. A large truck swerved up beside us. In the driver's seat, illuminated by our interior lights, was him. There were other shapes in the cab with him. My dad rolled down his window and shouted, but the truck just paced us, the men inside staring with blank, unsettling intensity. I froze. The confession died on my lips. Why couldn't I speak? We got home. I went straight to bed, desperate for the day to be over. I fell into a heavy, troubled sleep. Then, in the deepest part of the night, a rhythmic flashing of light dragged me awake. A bright, deliberate beam was sweeping across my bedroom wall. I crawled to the window, my breath fogging the cold pane, and peeled back the curtain. Standing on our lawn, looking directly up at my second-story window, was the man from the arena. He was shining a flashlight right at me. I screamed. My parents raced in, then rushed outside to search. They found nothing. No footprints in the frost, no sign of anyone. They soothed me, convinced it was the headlights of a passing car playing tricks. But I knew. I had seen his face, clear as day. The next few days were a blur of anxious celebration. On New Year's Eve, we were gathered in the living room, the cat counting down to midnight. 5 minutes to go. The doorbell rang. My dad answered. I heard a man's voice, polite and muffled, and then my blood turned to ice. I knew that voice. I yanked on my mom's sleeve, frantically whispering, "It's him, the man from the game." She shushed me. My dad came back with a flyer for a lost dog. "Nice fellow," he said. "His cousin's dog got out. He's just trying to help." I was a child crying wolf in a world of reasonable adults. The ball dropped. Cheers erupted. I felt utterly alone in a room of my family. Life moved on, as it does. The sharp edges of the memory softened with time. I told myself it was a series of weird coincidences, my young mind weaving a story. Then, a year to the day, on the next New Year's Eve, I was in my room. A sharp tap, tap, tap came at my window. Not the door, my window. Heart in my throat, I approached. Taped to the outside of the glass was a small, soggy piece of notebook paper. The message, written in smeared ink, read, "This New Year, you'll meet me again." This time, my parents believed me enough to file a police report. Nothing ever came of it, but the pattern was set. For years, New Year's Eve became my personal vigil. I'd lock my windows, draw the blinds tight, and lie awake waiting for a tap that never came. I developed a sudden lasting aversion to basketball games, much to my family's confusion. I'm 16 now. A decade has passed. The rational part of my brain says it's over, but the scared 6-year-old inside me knows he has our address. He proved that. And sometimes, in the quiet of a winter night, I'll catch a flicker of light outside, and my whole body goes rigid. The most terrifying gifts aren't the ones you open, but the ones that find you when you're not looking. There's a big game coming up in early January. My friends are trying to get me to go. They say it's time to get over it. Part of me wants to reclaim that joy. But another part, a deeper part, wonders if walking back into that same arena, under those same blinding lights, would be like sending up a flare. Would he remember too? Some doors, once opened, can never be fully closed again. If this story got under your skin, do me a favor and give this video a like. It helps more people find these real stories here on Midnight Zephyr. Let me know in the comments what you would have done in my situation.